Most tractors are remembered for how powerful they were. These 10 are remembered because nobody expected them to survive what they did. They pulled impossible loads, outworked machines twice their size, and kept running through decades of brutal harvests, freezing winters, and endless field work. Some were considered underdogs when they launched. Others were nearly forgotten. Yet farmers trusted them with their livelihoods year after year. These are the 10 American tractors that worked far harder than anyone ever expected. Number 10. Minneapolis-Moline G1000. When Minneapolis-Moline introduced the G1000 in 1966, many farmers looked at it with skepticism. The company was much smaller than giants like John Deere and International Harvester, so few expected one of its tractors to compete against the biggest names in American agriculture. But the G1000 quickly earned a reputation that surprised nearly everyone. Instead of simply matching its rivals, it became one of the hardest-working tractors on large grain farms across the Great Plains. The G1000 was built around Minneapolis-Moline's own large 6-cylinder engine. Depending on the version, buyers could choose gasoline, LP gas, or diesel power. The diesel model became especially popular because of its strong low-end torque and dependable performance during long days in the field. Factory power ratings varied by configuration, but many diesel versions delivered well over 100 horsepower, placing the tractor among the most powerful row crop machines available in the late 1960s. What really impressed owners wasn't just horsepower, it was endurance. Farmers regularly hooked the G1000 to large moldboard plows, heavy field cultivators, chisel plows, and wide discs. Even during long harvest seasons, the tractor proved capable of running from sunrise until well after sunset with little more than routine maintenance. Its heavy frame provided excellent traction, allowing operators to transfer power efficiently to the ground rather than wasting it through wheel slip. The spacious operator platform also made a difference. Although comfort standards were modest compared to today's tractors, the G1000 offered a better driving position than many competitors of its era. Better visibility and straightforward mechanical controls reduced operator fatigue during long workdays. Perhaps the greatest compliment came decades later. Many G1000 tractors remained active on family farms long after newer machines replaced them as primary field tractors. They became dependable backup units for planting, mowing, grain augers, and loader work. Their longevity proved that Minneapolis-Moline had built far more than another horsepower machine. It had created one of America's most durable working tractors. While the company itself eventually disappeared through mergers, the G1000's reputation never faded, making it one of the greatest examples of an American tractor that worked far harder than anyone originally expected. Number 9. Oliver 1950. The Oliver 1950 arrived in 1964, at a time when American farmers were demanding more horsepower to handle larger implements and expanding acreages. Oliver had always been respected for engineering quality, but it rarely received the same attention as the industry's largest manufacturers. Many expected the company to remain a regional favorite rather than a leader in high horsepower farming. The 1950 proved those assumptions wrong. Unlike many tractors that relied entirely on in-house engines, the Oliver 1950 used the well-known GM 453 Detroit diesel in its diesel version. This two-stroke, four-cylinder engine developed roughly 102 PTO horsepower while delivering strong pulling performance. Although the engine had a distinctive high-pitched sound unlike traditional farm diesels, farmers quickly discovered that it produced dependable power under heavy loads. The tractor's 6-speed transmission, combined with Oliver's dependable rear-end design, allowed operators to tackle demanding field work efficiently. Large tillage equipment, heavy planters, forage harvesters, and grain wagons all became common jobs for the 1950. Its balanced weight distribution helped maintain traction even in challenging soil conditions. Another reason farmers appreciated the 1950 was its relatively simple mechanical construction. Most maintenance could be performed without specialized diagnostic equipment, making repairs easier for farm owners who preferred servicing their own machinery. During the busy planting and harvest seasons, that simplicity often meant less downtime and lower operating costs. Although Oliver eventually became part of the White Farm equipment family, the reputation of the 1950 continued to grow. Many restored examples still appear at tractor shows throughout the Midwest. while others continue to perform light farm work more than half a century after production ended. The Oliver 1950 never generated the marketing excitement enjoyed by some of its competitors, but it consistently earned respect where it mattered most in the field. Farmers valued reliability above advertising, and the 1950 delivered dependable performance season after season. Its ability to handle demanding workloads without constant mechanical trouble transformed it from an overlooked competitor into one of America's hardest-working classic tractors. Number 8. Allis-Chalmers 220. By the early 1970s, horsepower competition among American tractor manufacturers had become intense. Every company wanted to build bigger, stronger machines capable of pulling wider implements across rapidly growing farms. When Allis-Chalmers introduced the 220 in 1970, some farmers questioned whether the company could compete with larger rivals already dominating the high-horsepower market. The 220 answered those doubts through years of dependable work, powered by a turbocharged 426 cubic-inch diesel engine. The Allis-Chalmers 220 produced approximately 135 engine horsepower. At the time, that placed it among the most capable row crop tractors available in North America. More importantly, it became the first production tractor equipped with a factory-installed turbocharger as standard equipment, helping deliver stronger performance without dramatically increasing engine size. The tractor featured a heavy-duty power-directed transmission combined with substantial rear axles designed to withstand continuous heavy draft work. Large chisel plows, field cultivators, deep tillage equipment, and grain carts all fell within its capabilities. Farmers especially appreciated how well the turbocharged engine maintained power under sustained loads, allowing productivity to remain high even during difficult field conditions. Operator comfort also represented a significant improvement. A quieter platform, better visibility, and improved steering reduced fatigue during long planting and harvesting days. These features may seem ordinary today, but during the early 1970s, they represented meaningful advances for operators spending 12 or more hours behind the wheel. Perhaps most impressive was the tractor's durability. Numerous 220s accumulated thousands of operating hours with only routine engine and drivetrain maintenance. Their rugged construction allowed many to remain in active service long after newer models entered the market. Although financial struggles eventually forced Allis-Chalmers to leave the agricultural equipment business, the 220 remained one of the company's finest achievements. Collectors today prize surviving examples not simply because they are rare, but because they represent a tractor that consistently exceeded expectations. It wasn't the most famous machine of its generation, yet it repeatedly proved itself capable of handling the demanding workloads of America's largest farms, earning lasting respect from the people who depended on it every day. Number 7. Case 1175. When the Case 1175 entered production in 1971, it arrived during a period when American agriculture was rapidly becoming larger and more mechanized. Farmers needed tractors capable of pulling heavier implements over more acres while remaining dependable through long working seasons. Although Case already had a respected reputation, the 1175 often lived in the shadow of better-known competitors. Over time, however, it earned recognition as one of the company's most dependable workhorses. At the heart of the tractor was Case's naturally aspirated 451 cubic-inch six-cylinder diesel engine. Producing roughly 117 engine horsepower, it delivered strong torque at relatively low engine speeds. Rather than chasing maximum horsepower figures, Case engineers focused on creating an engine capable of maintaining steady pulling power throughout long hours of demanding field work. The tractor featured the proven Case power shift transmission, allowing operators to change speeds under load without stopping. This significantly improved efficiency during tillage operations, where soil conditions changed throughout the field. Combined with the tractor's substantial operating weight, the transmission helped maximize productivity while reducing operator fatigue. Farmers commonly assigned the 1175 to heavy primary tillage, large field cultivators, grain drills, manure spreaders, and transport duties. Its balanced chassis provided excellent traction, while the hydraulic system supplied sufficient capacity for increasingly sophisticated implements of the early 1970s. Maintenance also contributed to the tractor's reputation. The engine layout allowed relatively easy servicing, and many owners reported remarkably long engine life when routine oil changes and filter replacements were performed on schedule. That reliability became especially valuable during planting and harvest seasons, when unexpected downtime could have serious financial consequences. Even decades after production ended, numerous Case 1175 tractors continue to perform seasonal work on family farms across the Midwest. Some serve as loader tractors, others power grain augers, while many still handle tillage equipment every spring and fall. Their continued usefulness reflects the conservative engineering philosophy behind the design. The Case 1175 never relied on flashy advertising or record-breaking specifications. Instead, it quietly earned the trust of farmers by showing up every morning, pulling hard until sunset, and doing it again the next day. That dependable consistency is exactly why it remains one of the American tractors that worked far harder than almost anyone expected. Number 6. John Deere 4320. When John Deere introduced the 4320 in 1971, it wasn't intended to become the company's flagship tractor. That role belonged to the larger 4620. At first glance, many farmers assumed the 4320 was simply a slightly more powerful version of the popular 4020. But once these tractors reached the field, they quickly earned a reputation for accomplishing jobs normally reserved for much larger machines. Over the years, the 4320 became one of the most respected workhorses John Deere ever built. Power came from John Deere's dependable 404 cubic inch turbocharged 6-cylinder diesel engine. Rated at approximately 115 engine horsepower and delivering around 95 to 100 PTO horsepower depending on testing standards, the tractor offered impressive torque while remaining remarkably fuel efficient for its size. The addition of a factory-installed turbocharger allowed operators to maintain strong pulling power without dramatically increasing engine weight. One reason farmers admired the 4320 was its balance. It was lighter and more maneuverable than many high-horsepower tractors, yet powerful enough to pull 6-bottom plows, large field cultivators, heavy discs, forage harvesters, and grain drills. That combination made it useful on both livestock farms and large grain operations, where one tractor often needed to perform many different jobs throughout the year. The synchro range and optional power shift transmissions gave operators flexibility depending on their farming style. Many producers appreciated the smooth shifting of the power shift, especially during transport work and changing field conditions. Combined with John Deere's closed-center hydraulic system, the tractor handled increasingly sophisticated hydraulic implements with little difficulty. Reliability became the 4320's defining characteristic. The 404 engine was already well proven, and with regular maintenance, many tractors accumulated well over 10,000 operating hours before requiring major engine work. Farmers frequently remarked that the tractor simply refused to quit, even after decades of demanding use. Today, the 4320 enjoys near-legendary status among collectors and working farmers alike. Many restored examples still appear at machinery shows, while others continue mowing roadsides, operating augers, baling hay, and pulling wagons during harvest. Although it never carried the biggest horsepower rating in Deere's lineup, the 4320 consistently delivered more work than anyone expected from a tractor of its size. That reputation for dependable performance is exactly why it remains one of America's hardest-working classic tractors. Number 5. International Harvester 1066. Few tractors have earned the loyalty of American farmers quite like the International Harvester 1066. Introduced in 1971, it arrived during one of agriculture's fastest periods of expansion, when farms were growing larger and equipment needed to become more productive. While many manufacturers focused on increasing horsepower, International Harvester built a tractor that combined strong power with exceptional durability. That combination transformed the 1066 into one of the most trusted field tractors of the 1970s. The tractor was powered by International Harvester's DT414, a turbocharged 414 cubic inch 6-cylinder diesel engine, producing about 125 engine horsepower. More importantly, the engine generated tremendous low-speed torque. Instead of constantly shifting gears when soil conditions changed, operators could often stay in the same gear while the engine continued pulling steadily through difficult spots. Farmers assigned the 1066 to nearly every demanding task imaginable. It handled moldboard plows, field cultivators, heavy discs, forage harvesters, manure spreaders, grain carts, and large balers with equal confidence. During harvest, many tractors spent 12 to 16 hours each day hauling loaded grain wagons from fields to storage without complaint. The tractor's straightforward mechanical design also contributed to its popularity. Most repairs could be completed using standard tools, and replacement parts remained widely available throughout North America. Farm mechanics appreciated the accessible engine layout, while owners valued the relatively low operating costs over thousands of working hours. The familiar red paint eventually became a symbol of reliability across much of the Midwest. Even as newer tractors introduced computerized controls and electronic systems, many farmers continued relying on their 1066 because they knew exactly how the machine behaved and trusted it to start every morning. Perhaps the greatest testament to the tractor's quality is how many remain in active service more than 50 years later. Across the United States, thousands still mow hay, pull wagons, operate augers, feed livestock, and perform seasonal tillage. Some have logged well beyond 15,000 hours while continuing to work each year. The International Harvester 1066 wasn't designed to be flashy. It was designed to work, and it did so with remarkable consistency. That reliability turned it into one of the greatest American farm tractors ever produced, and a machine that unquestionably worked far harder than almost anyone expected. Number 4. Ford 9600. By the mid-1970s, Ford was often overlooked in conversations about America's biggest farm tractors. Many producers associated the company with dependable utility tractors rather than heavy field machines. That perception began to change in 1975 with the introduction of the Ford 9600. Built specifically for large-scale farming, it quickly proved that Ford could compete with the industry's best when it came to demanding agricultural work. The Ford 9600 was powered by a naturally aspirated 401 cubic inch six-cylinder diesel engine, producing approximately 135 engine horsepower. Instead of relying on turbocharging, Ford engineers focused on building an engine that delivered smooth, dependable power with excellent fuel economy. Farmers soon discovered that the tractor could operate all day under heavy loads while consuming less fuel than many competing machines with similar horsepower. Its durable drivetrain and 8-speed transmission allowed the tractor to perform a wide variety of field operations. Large cultivators, deep chisel plows, grain drills, heavy discs, and forage equipment all became routine assignments. The tractor's substantial weight helped maximize traction, particularly in the clay soils found throughout parts of the Midwest. Operators also appreciated the roomy platform and improved controls. Visibility over the long hood remained excellent, making field operations more precise. The hydraulic system provided reliable performance for modern implements, while power steering reduced fatigue during long working days. One of the Ford 9600's greatest strengths was its simplicity. Unlike many later tractors filled with electronic components, nearly every major system could be diagnosed and repaired mechanically. That straightforward engineering appealed to independent farmers who preferred maintaining their own equipment rather than depending on dealership service. Throughout the late 1970s and well into the 1980s, the 9600 became a familiar sight across American grain farms. Many owners eventually upgraded to newer models, but kept the 9600 because it remained too dependable to sell. Even today, numerous examples continue pulling wagons, mowing fields, powering grain augers, and performing general farm work every season. The Ford 9600 may never have received the same recognition as some of its rivals, but those who owned one understood exactly what it represented: a rugged, dependable tractor capable of working long hours with very few complaints. It exceeded expectations not through marketing claims, but by consistently delivering reliable performance year after year, making it one of the hardest working American tractors of its generation. Number 3. White 135. By the late 1970s, the American farm equipment industry was changing rapidly. Several historic manufacturers had disappeared or merged, and many farmers wondered whether the White name could truly compete against long-established giants. When the White 135 entered production in 1979, some buyers viewed it as just another tractor wearing a new badge. It didn't take long for that opinion to change. In the field, the 2135 earned a reputation as one of the toughest and most dependable tractors of its era. Power came from a turbocharged 478 cubic inch Hercules, 6-cylinder diesel engine, producing approximately 135 engine horsepower. The engine was known for its excellent torque rise, allowing the tractor to keep pulling even when soil conditions became difficult. Instead of losing momentum, the 2135 often dug in and continued working without requiring frequent gear changes. Farmers quickly discovered that this tractor excelled during heavy tillage. 6- and 7-bottom plows, large field cultivators, heavy offset discs, grain drills, and manure injectors became routine jobs. Its balanced chassis transferred power efficiently to the ground, while the heavy rear axle and durable drivetrain handled continuous draft loads with very few failures. The spacious, quiet cab also impressed operators. Compared with tractors from only a decade earlier, interior noise levels were noticeably lower. Visibility was excellent, and the controls were logically arranged. During planting and harvest seasons, when 12-hour days were common, those improvements reduced fatigue and helped operators remain productive longer. Another major advantage was serviceability. Daily maintenance points were easy to reach, and the tractor's straightforward mechanical systems allowed many repairs to be completed on the farm. Owners appreciated that they could keep the machine running without relying heavily on specialized electronic diagnostics. Although White never achieved the market share of some larger competitors, the 2135 quietly built an outstanding reputation among farmers who valued reliability over advertising. Many examples remain in seasonal service today, handling hay equipment, grain carts, tillage, and loader work more than 4 decades after leaving the factory. It proved that dependable engineering mattered far more than flashy marketing, making the White 2135 one of the American tractors that consistently worked harder than anyone expected. Number 2. Case 2390. When Case introduced the 2390 in 1979, American agriculture was demanding more efficient, higher horsepower tractors capable of covering increasingly larger farms. While some competitors focused on dramatic styling or record-setting horsepower, Case concentrated on building a machine that farmers could depend on every single day. That practical approach helped the 2390 become one of the company's most respected field tractors. The tractor was powered by Case's dependable 504 cubic inch 6-cylinder diesel engine, producing approximately 160 engine horsepower. The large displacement engine generated abundant low-end torque, making it especially effective during heavy draft work. Whether pulling wide field cultivators, large chisel plows, grain drills, or heavy discs, the engine delivered smooth, consistent power throughout long working days. One of the 2390's defining features was its full power shift transmission. Operators could shift through gears without using the clutch, allowing productivity to remain high as field conditions changed. During transport with loaded grain wagons or while climbing rolling terrain, the transmission made operation smoother and reduced operator fatigue. The tractor's hydraulic capacity also reflected the growing demands of modern agriculture. As larger planters and hydraulic implements became more common, the 2390 supplied the flow and lifting capability needed to operate them efficiently. Combined with its strong rear hitch and durable final drives, the tractor handled demanding workloads with confidence. Owners frequently praised the 2390 for its longevity. With regular maintenance, many accumulated well over 12,000 operating hours before requiring significant engine work. Even after decades of use, countless tractors continued serving as primary tillage tractors or dependable secondary machines during planting and harvest. The roomy cab, excellent visibility, and effective heating and air conditioning also made a noticeable difference. Operators spending long hours in the seat appreciated the improved comfort compared with earlier generations of tractors. Today, the Case 2390 remains highly respected among collectors and working farmers alike. Many are still found across the Midwest pulling grain carts, mowing roadsides, powering augers, and performing seasonal field work. It never sought attention through flashy advertising. It earned respect by showing up every day and finishing the job. That unwavering dependability is exactly why the Case 2390 deserves its place among America's hardest working tractors. Number 1. John Deere 4020 If there is one American tractor that perfectly defines reliability, endurance, and hard work, it is the John Deere 4020. Introduced in 1963 as part of John Deere's famous new generation lineup, the 4020 was expected to be a good tractor. What no one predicted was that it would become one of the most successful and influential farm tractors ever built. More than 60 years later, thousands are still working, a remarkable achievement for any agricultural machine. The 4020 was powered by John Deere's legendary 404 cubic inch six-cylinder engine, available in both gasoline and diesel versions, with the diesel becoming by far the most popular. It produced roughly 95 engine horsepower, an ideal balance that allowed the tractor to perform an extraordinary variety of jobs. Rather than being too large for livestock farms or too small for grain operations, the 4020 fit almost every type of American agriculture. Its versatility became legendary. Farmers used it for plowing, disking, cultivating, planting, hay baling, mowing, loader work, grain hauling, spraying, and powering PTO-driven equipment. On many farms, a single 4020 worked every month of the year. During spring, it planted crops. Summer meant hay production. Autumn brought harvest and grain hauling. Winter often saw it feeding livestock or clearing snow. A major reason for its success was John Deere's advanced closed-center hydraulic system, which delivered fast, reliable hydraulic performance at a time when many competitors were still improving their designs. Buyers could also choose between the dependable synchro-range transmission or the innovative power shift transmission, giving the tractor flexibility for nearly every farming operation. Perhaps the greatest strength of the 4020 was its incredible durability. Stories of tractors exceeding 15,000, 20,000, or even 25,000 operating hours with proper maintenance are common throughout rural America. Many farms kept the tractor for generations because it simply refused to wear out. Parts availability, straightforward maintenance, and exceptional build quality only strengthened its reputation. Even today, the John Deere 4020 remains one of the most sought-after classic tractors in North America. It continues to work on farms, appears at tractor shows, and is often considered the benchmark by which other classic tractors are judged. While countless machines have been built with more horsepower or newer technology, very few have matched the 4020's combination of versatility, reliability, and longevity. It wasn't the biggest tractor of its era. It wasn't the most powerful, but year after year, decade after decade, it consistently accomplished more work than anyone imagined possible. That is why the John Deere 4020 stands at number one as the American tractor that worked harder than anyone expected. So that's it for today. If you like this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching.